the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Get on the Mic. I'm your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and this is the show where you give me a few notes and a microphone and I talk about some of the more interesting things that have happened in the world of entertainment or whatever else I feel like talking about that's happened throughout this week. And boy, has this been a long week. Between work and home and personal stuff and some things I'm going through and everything else, it's just been a long week. And what's funny about my program this week is I didn't have a ton of stories ready until around Thursday. A lot of this, I had some stuff on Monday and Tuesday, but it was really slow going, and I wasn't sure what kind of program I was going to have. And then boom, floodgates open, and hey, when you don't have time to do this, here's all the stuff you need for your podcast. So yeah, I'm a bit frazzled. So we'll see how this program goes. I got a few things to talk about today. First thing we're going to be talking about is what might as well just be a segment on this show. It's what is DC doing segment. We're going to be talking about the possibility of Batfleck being done and other DC stuff. We'll also be talking about some Gears of War things. Amazon's Lord of the Rings series, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the game, and the future of solo movies according to Ron Howard. So, in the What is DC Doing segment, we've heard this before. Ben Affleck, is he done as Batman? He wants to be done as Batman. I don't want to be Batman anymore. I was unhappy with Justice League. We've all seen the Pouty interview, and he's just, it's come out so many times that he's not happy, or he wants to be done, or he was supposed to direct the Batman movie and then he's not, and then Matt Reeves took over, and well, now the rumors are back. Affleck, here's the rumor: Affleck is leaving Matt Reeves as the Batman. The new rumor is that Reeves' movie, The Batman, will focus on a younger version of the character. See, here's the thing. Didn't they kind of age him up a little bit? Granted, they're probably talking like a 20-year-old Batman, like a Batman Year One kind of thing. But didn't they they aged up Affleck. So, it wouldn't be a terrible stretch to make him younger. Anyway, make him younger. It sounds like he wants to be done anyway. So yeah, who knows where they're going with this. But look, if they were canceling the current DC movie universe, I'd be okay with this. Like if they were just going to start making individual movies again, not trying to be Marvel. But is this the case? Because think about it. Aquaman's coming this year. They just named Wonder Woman 1984. They've announced the Jared Leto Joker movie. We know there's the Flash movie, Suicide Squad 2, whatever Harley Quinn movie or movies there are going to be, and more are already connected to this universe that they tried to smash together. Of course, we still don't know what the status is on the Cyborg movie. Then there's Shazam, which is filming, the Joker origin movie, the New Gods, and a ton of other movies that Warner Brothers has announced and then unannounced and then announced and then unannounced over and over and over and over again. So who knows what they're doing. I've mentioned and have joked about before the DC multiverse. And I know I've joked about it before, but I really do, and I'm not joking here, I really do have a feeling that they are going to try to use this method, the multiverse method. Maybe not in the Marvel way, where everything they do their best to make sure everything connects, even though, I mean, Marvel has made their mistakes and changes and everything too. But just as a way to tell multiple different stories, then say they're in the same universe, so when they want to, they can bring them together, and they can bring them together anytime they want, and then not have to try to explain it, separate them again, and then say bye. So I don't know. I think the smart move right now would be to separate them all. Separate them all the best you can. I mean, you can still have some quote-unquote universes, like the Bat universe, anything involving Joker and Harley and, whatever other characters they want to introduce, like Nightwing and things like that. And then you could have some crossover characters every now and then. More like comics used to be, where you could have a guest star and it really didn't have an overall arcing universe, anything that would, tear the universe apart if this character joined this character for an adventure. I would give them a lot of credit if they just did something like that, where, you could do a world's finest movie, but the stuff they did in that movie didn't have a ton of effect on future, Superman and Batman stories or whatever. I'd give them a little credit for that if they did that. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen with Batfleck. In other DC movie news, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie is moving forward officially. They're supposed to begin filming this fall with a reportedly $55 million budget. And it's rumored, get this, it's rumored to begin a new version of DC films that are darker. I know, right? In more other DC movie news, Jeff Johns has stepped down as co-president and chief creative officer of DC Entertainment. He's only been there a couple years, but he's not leaving the DC movie universe entirely. And I think this is a smart move. He is going to be writing and producing Green Lantern Corps, which, like I said, is a really smart move because this is where he found a lot of fame and success in the comic world. So it's a great place for him to be, and I'm quite happy he's attached to that movie or series, whatever it's going to be. He's being replaced by Jim Lee, who is one of my favorite comic artists of all time, as co-president and chief creative officer for DC Films. All I can say is they need to figure out what they're doing. Better yet, they need to tell everyone what they're doing. I'm not saying give away all their secrets, but if they've got a plan, they need to share it with everyone. If they're going to cancel the Justice League stuff, cancel it. Just let the public know what's going on, because right now they're just throwing every DC property they can up against the wall, and hopefully some of them stick, and then they'll make a movie about it. Next, I want to be talking about Gears of War. I'm a big Gears of War fan. Now, granted, I haven't gotten myself an Xbox One yet, so I haven't got to play Gears 4. And though it's on my 360, I got it for free during the one of the free downloads for Xbox Live is. I've got Gears of War Judgment, but I've never played it. But I love Gears of War 1, 2, and 3. At E3 this year, Microsoft announced 3 new Gears games. First is Gears 5, which takes place shortly after Gears 4 and will focus on the character of Kate Diaz. Then there's Gears Tactics, which is a PC turn-based strategy game, which if it was going to be something like Warcraft or StarCraft or something like that, or Halo Wars or whatever that RTS was, I wouldn't have been interested. But since it's a turn-based strategy game, it kind of piques my interest. And the fact that it's just on PC as of right now is kind of an interesting choice. That being said, it's hard to play strategy games on things like an Xbox unless it's something like Shining Force where there's not a lot of stuff you gotta deal with. But I'm guessing this is gonna be like a big time war tactics kind of thing. Then they also announced Gears Pop, which is a Funko Popped themed game set in the Gears universe, and I'm willing to bet that this is going to be the beginning of a lot of headaches, because I have a feeling that this is going to be just like Lego games, where they're going to come out with so many different games for so many different properties, and a lot of them are going to feel the same, but your kids are going to love them, so you're going to have to buy them and play them with them. And don't get me wrong, I like playing Lego games when I'm in the mood, but we went for a stretch there where my son and I were playing. Boy, we played 2 of the Lego Batman games, Marvel Superheroes, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and then we started Jurassic World, and I had to stop. He finished it. I had to stop, though, and I let him have his moment, because usually I would 100% the game, and I was just doing it because that's how I play those games, and I don't know. When he got ahead of me on the percent count on Jurassic World, even though I wasn't playing it, he was pretty proud of himself. So I let him have it. I just couldn't play it anymore. So that's what I'm afraid is going to happen with this Funko Pop video game thing. It's just going to be, here's 5 million properties, and don't get me wrong, I love Funko Pops. I'm looking at my wall right now, and I've got plenty on, just on the wall, and then there's many more upstairs and everything else. I can't say anything, but I'm afraid we're gonna have another Lego game type thing here. Another Gears thing I want to talk about is Gears of War movie. It's been in I'll just say development hell for a while now, but Dave Bautista has come out campaigning hard to get it made, and he wants to play Marcus Phoenix. I gotta say this, I like Dave Bautista as an actor. I wasn't a big fan of his as a wrestler, but man, he's really shown. I mean, granted, he's gotten put in some stinkers too. It's not, he's gonna take the roles he can take, and not every role is gonna be good, but I mean, some of the stuff he's been in, he's been pretty fantastic in. So I really like him as an actor. I'm glad he's getting to do this, because I think he's better at this than he is as a pro wrestler. But in a GameSpot interview, he had this to say, quote, "I've been pursuing Gears of War for years now. I believe it's in the hands of Universal Studios, and I've been knocking on their door and badgering them, and they are so sick of me phoning in and asking them where are they with the project. But yes, Marcus Phoenix is absolutely a dream role for me. I want that role," end quote. So that got me thinking, okay, Batista wants to play Marcus Phoenix, and that's perfect casting. If you've seen some of the photoshops, I mean, he's got the build. He can grow the beard the right way. I mean, he can do that part. I think he would be perfect in that part. And it would be a great movie for him to be the lead in. I mean, he's usually the supporting guy in most of the bigger movies he's in. I mean, he's done a couple smaller movies where he's the lead, but it's stuff that not a lot of people have seen. And he's not terrible in the movies. I can't remember. There's that movie where he was, the city was being attacked by a militia group. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but he was really good in it. The movie, I hated the ending, but he was good. But this will give him a big budget lead role that I think he would be really good at. So I'm going to cast this. So yeah, Dave Bautista is Marcus Phoenix. We're sticking with that. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. For the part of Dom Santiago, I went with John Bernthal. I think you need someone that can handle grief and intensity and anger and have a wide range of other emotions. Dom is a very emotional character, and I think you'd need someone like John Bernthal in that role. And plus, he can bulk up like mad and look big next to guys like Dave Bautista. And the next one I went in circles with. I wanted to put someone different in this role because of their comic chops, and plus they have military experience. But I just couldn't do it because I couldn't see them being next to these other actors size-wise. I wanted to put Robert Riggle as Damon Baird. He has military experience and all that, but and he has the comedic chops. That's what I was going for. I like the idea, and I would put him in that role, but I have a feeling that if they're going to make this testosterone-style movie, they're going to put someone like John Cena in as Damon Baird. Don't get me wrong. I'd love it to be Robert Riggle. I would. And if they put Robert Riggle in that part, I'd be thrilled. But I could have a feeling that since I need someone of size, John Cena is probably going to be the pick. So, yeah, I'm picking John Cena as Damon Baird. For Augustus Coltrane Cole, you know what? If you look, some people are throwing names out there. I've heard The Rock thrown out there. I've heard a few others. But if you don't put Lester Spite, the guy that voices him in the game, in there, then you're mad. He has to play Coltrane, baby. I mean, he's got the physicality. I mean, just, you go back and watch the Office Linebacker series with him in it, and then, of course, his intensity just using his voice in the games. It's Lester Spite. You don't use anybody else. As Anya Stroud, I picked Charlize Theron. She's probably a little older than they'd probably want, but, I mean, just look at things like Mad Max. She can pull off the range you need for a character like Anya. That's all the good guys, or, well, until the end here. I saved the best casting for last, but for the good guys. But as for the bad guys, for Queen Mira, I chose Angelina Jolie. I think she's just got the facial structure and can probably pull off the armor, the armored look, and then has a she has that bone structure in her face where I think she could pull off the part alien type creature. And then for General Rom, that's as far as I went on the villains. I just said Andy Serkis in mocap, because why the hell not? If you were gonna go with a practical effect, I would say like a Brian Steele, the guy that he's done Predators. He was the biggest thing a lot of people remember him for is Wink from Hellboy 2. So if you're gonna go practical, go something like that. Brian Steele's really cool. I met him in real life at a convention. He was one of the coolest dudes I've ever met. So yeah, if you're going practical, and I'd love to see him just do a lot of the bad guy soldiers and stuff, if they're going to do that. But if you're needing someone for, like, if they're going to go mocap, I'd say Andy Serkis for Rom. So my last casting, I take a lot of pride in this casting. The Carmine brothers. There were 3 brothers in the first 3 games. So here's how I cast them. Luke Hemsworth as Anthony Carmine. That's the brother from the first game. He doesn't last very long. Liam Hemsworth as Benjamin Carmine. He was the one in the second game. And Chris Hemsworth as Clayton Carmine, the only one that survives the games. And, if you needed him for more games, I don't know how many more games I don't know if he was in 4 or whatever, but I would pick Chris as Clayton, because he's going to be in the whole movie. Now, like I said, I haven't gotten to play Gears 4 yet. I'm hearing that there is a 4th Carmine brother out there, but nothing's really known about him, so I'll just let my sibling actor joke land, unless I'd have to start casting Baldwins for the roles instead, and I don't really want to do that. So yeah, if they're gonna make a Gears movie, that's who, at least some ideas of who I'd like to see in the roles. There's some in there that are slam dunks, some in there that are just some fun ideas. I've heard a lot of people say different names, different actors for Damon Baird. Bradley Cooper was one that come up. Ryan Reynolds was one that come up, and I wouldn't think those are terrible picks either. So yeah, that's who I'd like to see in the movie. And though I'm afraid of video game movies, if they did it right, they could pull off a Gears movie. I think it'd be really cool. The next story I want to talk about is Amazon's Lord of the Rings series. There's an update on it, sort of. There have been many rumors about this series, that it's going to be a prequel series. It's going to be about young Aragorn. Peter Jackson may or may not be involved. The head of Amazon Studios, Jennifer Salk, wanted to set the record straight for now. She said this, quote, "Despite all the noise around Lord of the Rings, the deal only closed like a month ago. But in the meantime, I've sat with Simon Tolkien for a couple of hours, and Amazon TV executive Sharon Tal Guado, I'll just say, because Lord knows how you pronounce that name, has spent tons of time with them. She had spent the last couple of months meeting anyone who had said, 'I'm really passionate about it and I want to get in and talk about the show and what's possible.' I think you'll see us honing in on a strategy in the next month, which might involve a group of writers." She also confirms Peter Jackson's involvement, again, sort of. She said, quote, "The Peter Jackson conversations right now, we're right in the middle of them. It's like, how much do you want to be involved? How little? I know there's been some discussion and he's even said some things, but as far as I'm aware, the latest is that we're just in a conversation with him about how much or how little he would be involved. Thanks for the info." She did clear up what the show will be about. She said, quote, I think you can know that we're not remaking the movies, but we're also not starting from scratch. So it'll be the characters you love. So is it going to take place, in that movie's universe or what? Is it going to be, or is it just going to be about the characters in those movies? And she didn't really clear up that much. She stated that the show will possibly follow the lead of Jackson's movies location-wise. She said, quote, "I think we might be in New Zealand. I don't know. But we're going to have to go somewhere interesting that could provide those locations in a really authentic way because we want to make it look incredible. There's no shortage of ambition for the project. We'll go where we need to go to make it happen." Which will probably be New Zealand. So does this give me any confidence about this show? A little bit. I'm a bit, if they put it in the movies universe, I'm a little scared. If they use Peter Jackson as a source of information, it makes me a little less scared. I don't want them to get him so involved that he feels like he has to do it, kind of like what happened with The Hobbit, because you could honestly tell he didn't want to do that. Lord of the Rings he was passionate about, but he spent so much time of his life working on that, and then there's like, by the way, we got 3 more for you that should have been maybe 1 or 2 movies. Still a little upset we didn't get the Guillermo del Toro Hobbit movies. I think they would have been way better. So am I excited about this though? Of course I am. I just like, we rip on the Star Wars prequels. We were happy that there was more Star Wars coming. Just like I couldn't stand The Hobbit, I'm happy there's more Lord of the Rings stuff. I love fantasy stuff, and I want to see more of it. So, I am excited that it's happening. I'm a little worried about it, because I'm afraid it might feel like Game of Thrones light. But who knows? If they get the right people involved, especially, if you want to, Ian McKellen was saying, just ask me, and he'll probably come back to play Gandalf. I don't want to see really anyone else play that part. So, I mean, there's many things they can do and things they shouldn't do to make it work, but we'll see where it goes whenever they finally get the ball rolling. This next one's a shorter story, but there's really not much out about it, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the video game. At E3, a new single-player game set after Revenge of the Sith and made by the creators of Titanfall. Respawn Entertainment was announced, and that game is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. About the only thing we know, one of the only things we know is that you'll play as a young Padawan that survived Order 66. And it's going to have a Christmas 2019 release, and not much else known about that. I know they're wanting to tell different stories and everything, but I think that this is a perfect opportunity to tell the story of Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels. I mean, we got to know a little bit about him in Star Wars Rebels, but not enough. I mean, Star Wars Rebels was more about Ezra. And we know that Kanan Jarrus escaped Order 66. So that, I think, is the game I'd want to see. Because I think they need to take the opportunity to not try to introduce too many new things into the canon. Because, you know, these games and the books and stuff that Disney is releasing is canon, along with Rebels and the Clone Wars. So I think they need to just slow down a little bit and take something that hasn't been overused. I mean, yeah, we got all the seasons of Rebels with Kanan, but I mean, we didn't really learn a ton about him. We learned a little bit, but man, I want more. So I'm really hoping that this game will be about him. The next story I want to talk about is the future of the Solo movies, according to Ron Howard. Ron Howard talked to Empire Magazine about a bunch of different things, and of course they talked about Solo, especially about how Solo possibly laid groundwork for a new series, and that's what Howard was saying. He said it laid groundwork, but there's, quote, no concrete plans for another movie yet. He said, quote, it's been kind of a constant process of asking the questions. How might this have happened? How might have Han Solo been affected? What are the events that might have shaped his life? I think it does continue to beg questions. The fans seem enthusiastic, and so maybe there's going to be interest in exploring those, end quote. What might the movies explore? He said, quote, potentially one would think it might be kind of interesting to see what a war amongst the syndicates looks like. There's nothing concrete there, but that's interesting territory. And in what movie and through which character's perspective that might emerge, I think everybody feels like that's rich territory to explore in the movie's universe. And then, of course, they had to ask him about the Lando movie, because we all know that Donald Glover is by far one of the best parts of Solo. Howard was very short on that subject, though. He said, quote, he's so entertaining. That's a real possibility. All of this is in discussion, but it all depends on project by project development. And that's all he had to say about it. I got a feeling that's one they're working on. And now I'm about to get into some spoilers for Solo, so if you haven't seen Solo, what I'm about to talk about, some pretty big stuff, so here we go. What about L3? Is she gone for good? Howard had this to say about it. Quote, is there some way that Lando could rebuild L3? One would hope, wouldn't you? Maybe the Falcon gets to keep a bit of that super intelligence, but Lando could maybe somehow someday find his way to reconstruct L3. And what about Kira? How does Howard see her quote-unquote betrayal of Han? He said this, and he has a different viewpoint than a lot of people. He said, quote, she set him up to go, assuring him that she'd follow, but knowing she couldn't, really. She had to clean the situation up as best she could. I think she hoped she could report in and then disappear, but Maul trapped her. He said, come to Dathomir, and we're going to be working together closely. And you realize, oh my God, she's traded one oppressive boss in for an even scarier dude. In a way, it fuels her ambition and puts her in a position of heightened power, perhaps, or heightened danger. I thought it was kind of courageous of her. So it sounds like he was saying that she made a choice to save Han by kind of sacrificing herself. I don't see it that way. I think because she kept talking about how damaged she was, and I think she made her play, and she's going to be the big villain if they continue. So should there be more solo movies, or at least movies closely connected to it? Yes, there should. They need to answer these questions now. If they hadn't teased Maul, they could have gotten away with it. The L3 issue kind of plays into it too, of things that you kind of have to address. If Disney doesn't do it, I think many will consider their Star Wars Stories concept a bit of a failure. Solo was a good movie, though. Better than it's getting any credit for. And honestly, I think Disney needs to stick to their blasters with this and just continue on with the plan that they were going for in the first place. That's all the big stories I got for this week. Now on to quick hits. Steven Spielberg and James Wan are looking to team up to produce an Arachnophobia remake. This is in early stages of development, so there is no director, actors, or writers attached. Also, Wan will not direct the movie. Hunger Games director Francis Lawrence is set to direct a movie about the Hulk Hogan Gawker trial. It's based on the book Conspiracy, Peter Thel, Hulk Hogan, Gawker, and the Anatomy of Intrigue. I'm not sure who they'll be getting to play Hogan, Chris Hemsworth maybe, but I'm wanting to see if Francis Lawrence can convince Jennifer Lawrence, his Katniss, to play Brooke Hogan. Australian actor Paul Hogan is set to star in the very excellent Mr. Dundee. Now, this is not a sequel to his famous, or infamous to some, Crocodile Dundee movies, nor is it that fake Son of Dundee movie either. The movie sees Hogan playing himself and on the brink of receiving a knighthood for his services to comedy, but things start to go really wrong. I got to thinking, if this movie ends up being like Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie JCVD, where he plays an exaggerated but honest version of himself, the very excellent Mr. Dundee could be amazing. The Green Lantern movie screenwriter Mark Guggenheim has responded to seeing the Deadpool credits, which utterly destroys his work on the movie, while not personally, maybe symbolically. After seeing the movie, he responded on Twitter, "Just saw Deadpool 2, well played Ryan Reynolds, well played, # Green Lantern." At least he had a sense of humor about it. Warner Brothers demanded Ryan Reynolds to give his Green Lantern ring back. Sure, they were probably joking too, but Reynolds zinged them better anyway. He responded to their demands in a tweet by saying, "Well, if we had used a Nuva ring in the first place, we wouldn't have been in this mess." # Deadpool 2. Brad Bird, who returned to the Incredibles franchise this weekend, and quite successfully, I might add, and you can see my review on this channel, he had adamantly said he will not do sequels for Mission Impossible, Ratatouille, or The Iron Giant. He said, quote, "I'm told I need to remake everything that I've made, and no one apparently wants anything new anymore. I'm a little at odds with society on that. I would like to do some new things. I feel like I've done my Ratatouille, I've done my Mission Impossible, and I've done my Iron Giant. And that's that. I'm not mad about it, but it seems like it's the only thing that people want now is that for you to repeat what you just did. That being said, I'm sure the money that Incredibles 2 is going to make this weekend, I'm sure he's going to at least be asked about one of them by Disney." Isaiah Mustafa, best known as the Old Spice guy, has been cast as the adult Mike Hanlon for It Chapter 2. I guess if the manliest of men can't stop Pennywise, nobody can. Mustafa is currently a part of the TV series Shadowhunters: The Mortal Instruments on Freeform. It's been reported that the new Game of Thrones series on HBO will be a prequel set thousands of years earlier than the original show. The storyline for it, according to Entertainment Weekly, is this. Taking place thousands of years before the events of Game of Thrones, the series chronicles the world's descent from the golden age of heroes into its darkest hour. And only one thing is for sure, from the horrifying secrets of Westeros history to the true origins of the White Walkers, the mysteries of the East, to the Starks of legend, it's not the story we think we know. The series is rumored to air sometime in 2020. On an official Michael J. Fox Facebook page, a fake Back to the Future 4 announcement was released, but of course, this didn't stop many people from getting their hopes up. While I never thought a sequel would happen, I've always been surprised that they haven't spun it off yet, focusing on Doc Brown's kids. John Cena will be replacing Sylvester Stallone in an independent action thriller starring Jackie Chan called Project X. Chan will portray a Chinese private security contractor who is tasked with extracting oil workers from a refinery that's been attacked. He teams up with a former U.S. Marine, played by John Cena, when he learns that the attackers' real plan is to steal the oil. There is no official release date, but is said to come out sometime in 2019. John Bernthal is in negotiations to join Matt Damon and Christian Bale in Ford v Ferrari. James Mangold is set to direct this drama about the battle between the two premier car makers to win the Le Mans in 1966. Bernthal is in talks to play Lee Iacocca, a key marketing exec at Ford during the 60s and later a symbol of the resilience of the American auto industry when he headed Chrysler. Ewan McGregor has been cast to play an adult Danny Torrance in the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. According to Variety, the film focuses on Danny all grown up as he deals with the reappearance of his psychic powers and some understandable emotional issues, which leads him to turn to alcohol. Danny now works in a hospice care facility where he uses his abilities to help take care of patients on their way to the grave, which prompts the nickname Dr. Sleep. The sequel to The Shining is set to hit theaters sometime in 2020. It's been announced that Steve Downes, the longtime voice of Halo's Master Chief, will be returning to voice Master Chief in the new Halo game. Let us all throw out a big, well, duh, on that one. The battle for Fox has officially begun. Comcast has made their official offer for Fox in the amount of $65 million. I guess all I can say is that Disney is going to have to show Fox how bad they really want it. And this is going to get ugly. That's going to be it for quick hits. I haven't gotten any responses yet, and I've got a few that I'm going to do. But in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be starting a new segment on this podcast called the Smaller YouTuber Spotlight. So if you're listening to this program and you can be a little bit bigger than me, I don't really have a set number. Don't have 1 million subscribers and send me a link. But if you'd like me to take a look at your channel, comment on it in the section below, leave me a link to it. In the next few weeks, I'm going to be looking at some channels that I like or that someone has turned me on to, and if it's something I like, I'm going to share it with everybody. So if you've got one, I've got some in mind, but if you've got a channel you want me to check out, please leave me a link to it in the comment section so I can take a look at it, so I can add you to the Smaller YouTuber Spotlight if I like what I see. I don't have all this influence or anything, but I want to help out who I can, especially if I see something that should be getting more eyes on it. A bit of a channel update. Still waiting to hear back from YouTube. They're saying they're looking at my channel and its monetization now, but I'm not real worried about it. I would like to just get an answer and be done with it, to be honest. Also, Talking Movies continues right now. You can see my review for Incredibles 2. Find out if I think it lives up to the 14 years of waiting hype. Plus, I also took a look at the movie Superfly from Director X, which is a remake of the 1972 blaxploitation film Superfly. And also, you can check out and hear my thoughts on the movie inspired by a true story, the comedy Tag. And all those will be on the channel this weekend. Also, Geno's Bad at Games is continuing. I'm still playing Game of Thrones, the role-playing game. I thought I was about done with the game, but I'm finding out that I'm not as close to the finish line as I thought. One thing that's really ticking me off is the phrase optional quests. Finding out that, granted, there were some that I missed, but I could still do, and I'm going back and doing them, and I'm doing them on my own time because I don't have that much time to edit and record, and a lot of the stuff is just kind of boring fetch quests and things. I'm just trying to keep the main story on the channel. If there's something cool that happens, I'll probably share it, but I'm finding out that I probably should have some more experience, but if they're optional quests, they should be optional. That's all I gotta say. don't make me do them to finish the game if they're optional. That just pisses me off. If you want to find out what's going on the channel, since smaller channels like myself and others are not allowed to have that wonderful little texting feature, we're not big enough. If you want to know what's going on the channel, I usually share that stuff on Twitter and Facebook, mostly Twitter now. Facebook just gets on my nerves. Have you seen that? Speaking of, have you seen that stupid commercial they have that plays a lot of times in front of movies where it's like, Facebook used to be great, but then we got fake news and spam, and it's like that stuff's still there, guys. Don't act like you're getting rid of it. It's there. It's not going away. You messed up. But anyway, that's just a little spiel on Facebook. I'm just really tired of Facebook, but I've been putting a lot of stuff of what I'm doing on the channel on Twitter. You can follow me there at The Real Geno. That's REELGENO, just like the channel here. I tried to streamline everything best as possible. But yeah, you can get the latest news from my channel there, and also from my GB3 partnership with Heisenerd. And of course, I want to draw your attention to some other things. The Geek B Cube channel, we haven't got to do much on that. We're still working on some things, but both of us have been personally a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to be trying to get some more of that stuff. I'm willing to bet that we may do something for Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, or Ant-Man, and those are coming up soon. We've been having a lot of fun doing the spoiler-filled tag team discussions. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the GB3 podcast. I mean, with me planning this podcast and all the movies I have to see and everything else I'm trying to do here, plus work my full-time job, and him doing the same, it's kind of hard to get together and prepare another big podcast. And who knows, it may come back, but we're just trying to figure out what we want to do. And of course, I want to lead you to Heisenerd's channel. That's spelled HEISENERD, where he does gaming live streams and let's plays, and a podcast called Heisenerd Speaks. Also, make sure to check out his channel this Monday around 8 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be doing we're supposed to be doing another playthrough, a game playthrough together. And boy, are we going to feel the pain, the agony, the heartbreak. It's a game we probably won't even get to finish, but we're just going to have fun playing it. We're going to be doing a live playthrough of Cuphead, so Lord help us all. I've actually never really got to play it, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'm Team Mugman. I'm going to be Mugman, I'm sure. So, again, that's on Heisenerd's channel this Monday around 8 p.m. Central Time. So if you like us or don't like us, if you want to see us try to succeed, or if you want to see us get our butts kicked, make sure to check out the live stream. As always, thank you guys so much for the support of the channel. I've gotten a lot of positive responses on how I'm doing talking movies. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I just got tired of being so uniform. I love editing, but I just want to talk about movies and games and whatever else. It's what works for me. It's what I enjoy. And I've gotten a lot of positive responses on talking movies, and I'm happy that a lot of people are enjoying it. And granted, I've lost some subscribers too, but I've gained some as well. It hasn't really moved. The subscribers have been stuck around the 1,400 mark for a while now. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I'd like to see them grow, don't get me wrong, and I like more people to hear what I have to say. But if the people that are listening enjoy it, then I'm cool with that. But as always, I want to thank you guys for the support. Well, I'm a tired dude right now. It's been a long week. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Get on the Mic. But right now, I'm about to crash. I need some rest, and I've got me a long day tomorrow too. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.